Hey friends, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another Miss Ink Stamps video. Today we are going to be making a fairly simple card. We're going to be using these two stencils. We'll talk about them as we go, and we'll be using this darling stamp set. This is the It's All Relative stamp set because I love the sentiments in there. So let's jump into it. I have some watercolor cardstock that I've cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I'm going to pull out my Tonic platform, and I'm going to just tack this down with a little bit of mint tape just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to take our squared away stencil, and I'm just going to put that down over the top of it using some magnets. I'm going to pull out some Hickory Smoke Distress ink, and I'm going to use a blender brush, and I'm going to blend that lightly across that entire background. It's going to be splotchy in some areas, darker in some, lighter in others, and that's kind of the look I'm going for. I didn't want it to be completely uniform, so I am happy with this when I start to pull it away, and you'll see. So I like that. I'm really happy with that. So we'll pull that stencil off, and then we're going to grab the next one, which is called Boho Blocks, and I think this one is so super pretty. This one I'm going to use some Nuvo Embellishment Mousse on. Now my Nuvo Embellishment Mousse is a little bit dried out. We've talked about this before, and you'll see I'm kind of just pulling out a piece of that stencil. Sometimes when you get your stencils, there might be a piece stuck in there, but they easily come out because they've been laser cut. All right, back to the Nuvo Embellishment Mousse. Mine is starting to dry out a little bit. I do use press and seal. I keep the original tin topping or aluminum topping or whatever that is, and so it does start to dry out a little bit. You don't need to throw it away. I've had some of it before where it's gone like completely dry. What I use is distilled water. If I just use a little bit at a time and you just kind of incorporate that in there, just kind of mixing it up, you can bring that Nuvo Embellishment Mousse right back to life. But this is still workable. This one's fine. Probably the next time I pull it out, I will have to use some distilled water. But for now, this still works. I didn't want it to go over the entire background. I just wanted it on that left-hand side. So I just squished that through our stencil, and take a look at that. So we have layer on layer. I love doing that with these stencils, and Miss Ink Stamps is one of those that has so many great stencils to choose from. So take a look at that, and that stuff is nice and shiny. I'm going to let that dry for a little bit, and then we're going to pull in some more stuff. You'll see I have a background already. That was in my background stash. I keep those. This one had some silver splatters on it. I loved it. It just kind of had me inspired. So I'm bringing it out, and I'm going to add even more splatters to it using some more silver paint because I love the idea of that. And now I need to stamp out my sentiment. So I've grabbed some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and I'm going to stamp out the sentiment that says, "Because you matter." And I don't want the "because" for this next one. I just want "you matter." So I'm going to stamp "you matter" twice because you do matter. And this will be a great card to hand to somebody because it will say you matter because you matter. And that's all you need to know. Now I'm stamping out a couple of the images from our It's All Relative stamp set. Those are, I use some Rusty Hinge Distress Oxide ink. The Distress Oxides are so good for stamping. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut all of those out and get my sentiments ready to go. I played around with placement quite a bit. Wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to do this. Didn't think I would use all of those images, but I will end up using quite a few of them. And when I'm happy with where I think the placement's going to be, I'm just going to start gluing everything down with a little bit of liquid glue. So I've got the "you matter because you matter, you matter." I mean, I feel like you just can't say it enough. You do. We all do, right? And this would be a great card to send to somebody, anybody in your life, really. And I'm just going to put those down where I've got them. This one, I even notched the edge, that left-hand side, a little bit of a angled cut. But I think this card is so fun. This would be a great masculine or feminine card, really, based on the colors. And yeah, and I got to tell you, I'm not exactly sure what those little stamps are, if they're elements. You know, I'm not a scientist by any means, but my daughter definitely is. She is a chemist, a legit chemist. All right, so I went ahead and glued this down to my card base, which was an A2 size card base. And I'm going to put the one last little element inside, and that's actually going to finish off our card for today. I really do love how this one turned out. So simple. Using those stencils is great. So if you liked this video, please be sure to hit that like button and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And be sure to check out all that Missing Stamps has going on over on their blog, Facebook page, and Instagram for more crafty inspiration. Thanks for stopping by and have a great day.